And in studio now is suspended ANC Secretary General, Mr. Ace Magashule. Ntate Magashule, thank you so much for your time and for coming through this afternoon. But certainly not a good day with us receiving news of the passing of Mayor Jeff Makhubo. I'm sure you were very close to him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, very sad news. I think I just want to pass our condolences to the family of Comrade Jeff Makhubo, friends, comrades, the ANC entire, and not only Comrade Jeff and all those who have passed on. To their families, we want to say our sympathies, and our condolences.
And how will you remember Mayor Makhubo?
Very active. We're surprised, and that's why I think people must be very cautious in terms of taking the necessary steps to ensure that they don't get this COVID. A wonderful chap, very disciplined member of the ANC, soft-spoken, but a real comrade until death.
Until death, which has come, and I guess that's a day for all of us, but I guess we're never ever ready for when that moment actually does arrive.
Yeah. I also want to pass, there is one comrade general called Comrade General Pizzo, who has also passed on COVID, to their family, and as I said, to many other South Africans, our condolences. God be with you, wherever you are.
Thank you so much, Ntate Magashule. Let's talk about one of the other issues of the day and the issue that brings you here this afternoon. The court ruling, the judgment, basically dismissing your efforts there. Are you going to abide by the ruling?
Well, you know, in South Africa there are legal processes and the universal principle, and I'm happy that the court said they did not want to get into the merits of the case that much, because this was a very complex, and it is still a complex issue, and therefore I have listened to the summary which was read by Judge Kolapin, speaking on behalf of the full bench and my legal team. And I can assure you that was the best legal team. You know, in law, it doesn't mean when you lose the case. I can remind you of the late George Bezos, the late Arthur Chaskalson. In the entire history, how many cases have they lost? But I think, so our team was the best team, and that's why we are appealing the judgment, because there are those issues which Judge Kolapin himself said they are very, very complex. And I think a higher court can come to another decision which will be fair. This is political, but I think it's political as well as legal, because whatever issues I've raised, they don't just affect me as a member of the African National Congress, a leader. The Ramaphosa case, I think in this case, has been twisted. I don't want to come here and criticize the judges, and that's why what I want to say is that it's politics versus the law. And I remember people have been posing a question, is the state captured? Maybe it's time to reflect on that matter, but not today. But today we have noted the judgment, and definitely one of the flaws in the judgment which I've seen is that the judgment says I was given the right to a hearing by the Integrity Commission, and that happened in December 2020 in respect of the 30-day deadline, which was only passed by the NEC in March 2021. Obviously, this is wrong, and this is why we'll contest some of these issues. And the court also agrees, and the respondents' lawyers have also, through lawyer Trangrove, have agreed that there is no way you can change the highest decision-making body decisions, the National Conference. But the court today says the National Executive has a right to do so. It can't be, because the same ANC Constitution says the highest decision-making body's decisions are binding. So the National Conference decisions are supreme. And that's why we want to get involved into the issue of appealing the case.
So, Mr. Magashule, at what point did you realize that the ANC's step-aside law was unconstitutional? Because you were the very one who was saying that those who are guilty should be stepping aside, or those who have been charged should be stepping aside. So when did that change happen?
No, I've never changed everything. I've been very consistent. I've been saying the resolutions of the conference, there are 9 sets of resolutions. Innocent until proven otherwise, respect the constitution of the ANC and the country, the Bill of Rights, those who have used money for conferences, and there is no denial here that people have used money to ascend to higher positions. And we said the NEC can't actually then change and amend the resolutions. Those who have, and this is what the judge also said, it was about those reported to have committed crime, corruption, those who have been investigated, reported to, those who have allegations. And that's why the ANC sought 5 legal opinions. You couldn't seek 5 legal opinions when there was agreement amongst ourselves. And the legal opinions said this is unlawful. And that's why we want to go to the next court. We'll appeal this decision. And I think it's fair. And one surprising thing, even the officials of the ANC have said the charge I'm facing is flimsy. And I'll prove this in court, what the officials of the ANC said, because it's on record. And maybe I'll talk about many other things whilst we face that kind. And that's why I've gone to court, to still, until today. Remember, the court said, the prosecutor said in February, in 2 weeks' time, they will give me charges. Where are those charges today?
Let me ask you this, Mr. Magashule. There are others who have stepped aside before you. Why is it that you did not stand up earlier if you really believed that the step-aside resolution was unconstitutional? Why only stand up when it is your case?
This is what the public doesn't know. We have argued in the National Executive Committee, not only me, that this is unlawful. And the step-aside rule said if we have to step aside, that is voluntarily. And I have argued that you can't, the rights I fought for as a freedom fighter, I have been a freedom fighter, and many others, is the right to speak, is the right of freedom, is the right of association. Now you ban me, I say I must not talk to people, I must not do this and that. And the universal principle, which is innocent until proven otherwise. So I have been saying this, many comrades have been saying this. Those who step aside voluntarily, some of them, 1 or 2 step aside, because I can give you cases. There were people who were charged long before, immediately, even before 2017, with corruption. They never step aside. They were actually encouraged to step aside when I was charged, because you can see it's a well-managed political manipulation. And some of the people step aside so that they thought I will actually do so. No, I can't. I was elected by conference. And that's why I will still say, let's go to the national conference, the National General Council. But for now, whenever the ANC is prepared to engage, I've said I'm a member of the ANC discipline, I will engage. But you can't then say I should not actually go. And as the resolution of conference of NASREC said, once you have gone through all these processes and you feel that justice is not done, and this is what I've done. I've gone to court. So the court have pronounced that this is what Ramaphosa did. In the Free State, when he was expelled, he went to the Supreme Court until he went to the Constitutional Court. And the Constitutional Court found that Ramaphosa was right. And the Ramaphosa case is used here. And that's why I'm saying, let's leave the legal issues, constitutional issues, to the lawyers, because they will deal with that. I will deal with politics. I will be briefing structures of the ANC wherever I go.
Earlier on in our conversation, you spoke about the politics of it all and the law of it all. And at some point, you had said that it is not proper or kosher for ANC members to take their grievances that should be resolved within the party to court. And yet you have found yourself doing exactly that.
That's what I said. As we were trying to renew the African National Congress, as the conference resolution was stating. But you have seen in the ANC, unless you don't, and I have records where we ex-ANC National Executive Committee members, as the top 6, on record, we have agreed that the officials are divided, the National Working Committee is divided, the NEC is divided. It's on record. And if anybody wants to deny that we have said so, a lot of leaders of the ANC have talked about factionalism, whereas Comrade President Mbeki, they've talked about the existence of factionalism even now. So it is the triumph of those who think they can actually run this organization. This organization is the people's organization, and that's why I will actually fight for the rights, not only my rights, but the rights of ANC members and all those South Africans who are members of the ANC. And for the ANC and the public in general to know that in South Africa we are a constitutional state, there are laws, there is a rule of law. So allow me to go through these processes of law. And that's what I'm doing. Indeed, I've been discouraging people from doing that. But when you see people are hard and fast, that, oh, no, this one, because certain decisions have to be taken in my absence. And I think you can see that's what is actually happening.
Mr. Magashule, we'll continue our conversation with you in just a moment, in conversation with the suspended ANC Secretary General, Mr. Ace Magashule. Now, the Pietermaritzburg High Court has dismissed former President Jacob Zuma's bid for stay of arrest with costs. The judgment was handed down in a very brief sitting earlier on today. The former president is currently serving his jail term at the Escort prison. He was sentenced last week for contempt of court.
The application is dismissed with such costs to include those occasioned by the employment of senior counsel. I hand down the judgment.
So that is the very brief verdict that was meted out a bit earlier on today. Now, we are still in conversation right here with the suspended ANC Secretary General, Mr. Ace Magashule. Now, Dr. Magashule, the ruling that has just been meted out against the former President Jacob Zuma, his case, his application dismissed with costs. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think people are going to say we criticize the judiciary all the time. You know that before President Zuma, the Constitutional Court decided he went to a higher court, a high court in Johannesburg. Before that high court case could be heard, the Constitutional Court jumped and took a decision. He then appealed. He went to Maritzburg. I think Maritzburg now say this is what you can do. You can't overrule. And I think I once studied law. If you can't overrule the highest decision-making body, which is the Constitutional Court, I agree with that principle. But there are discrepancies, because you'll remember, even in the case of Thulima Donsela, the Constitutional Court said Thulima Donsela decision as PP is binding. Later on, Judge Mlambo, a year or 2 or 3 later, said the decision of the public protector, which is Mkhwebane, is not binding. So you can see and read and understand what is happening, and I think...
And what is happening?
So are the days of our lives. This is South Africa of today. I think time will tell. But I think it's politics, it's law, it's the days of our lives. And that's why we need to remain resolute. That's why we must still respect the law. We must respect our courts. We must respect, but we must differ. And this is what judges have said themselves, that yes, we have the right to criticize judges. We have the right to criticize the courts for as long as we are not, I don't know. But generally, the principle is that there is freedom of speech in South Africa. That's the freedom we have actually fought for.
Are you feeling persecuted in any way?
Time will tell. I'm sure structures of the ANC, South Africans will tell. And I'm sure, and I'm happy that I've been charged with so-called, what is this charge, oversight? Because that's where a lot of things will be revealed in that case. I hope it does take place so that I'm able to show South Africans. And I want to say to South Africans, don't judge me when I have not been found guilty and you say I'm corrupt. Let me go and prove my case. And that's why I welcome the fact that I'm charged and I'll be able to speak for myself. And I'm still saying to NPA, can you please give me category B and C charges so that come 11th of August, you don't have any reason to say. We have written 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 letters. These guys are dilly-dallying. They give us documents of Zondo Commission, which we have, and all that, because the intention is to further delay the case so that we remain with the stigma of corruption. You are corrupt. You are. And of course, nobody wants to work with somebody who's corrupt. I am against corruption myself. How many people have, even the Zondo Commission, and people admit, I've received money, I've been given so many millions, I've been given this. They are not charged because selective application of the law. Can't ordinary South Africans see this? I don't want to defend myself, and that's why I want the court to actually pronounce. I will go to even the last court of the land, and I will be satisfied with whatever happens. And I see what is happening to President Zuma, and I think that the ANC definitely will change. And I'm also, like Comrade Setle was saying yesterday, I want to thank comrades and the people of South Africa for having remained peaceful, and because this is what we have fought for. But don't stop us to speak our mind. Don't arrest people for speaking, and you don't arrest you. People are gathered here, they call marches, workers, democracy for what they march, and you don't charge anybody, you don't do anything. But people can see this thing. This is how we defeated apartheid. So apartheid cannot repeat itself during a democratic state.
So talk to us, and you were speaking about former President Jacob Zuma and his supporters, and there was talk and speech and fear and panic about potential unrest if his arrest actually does happen. And we did see this past weekend a large number of his supporters coming in from different parts of the country to show support to the former president. Just your thoughts on that.
Yeah, people are going to show support for President Zuma and many ANC leaders. They are going to show that support. That support is not because Zuma is arrested, it's going to end there. That support is going to continue for many, many years to come. And it will continue.
But the question, if I can ask you this, sir.
Yes.
Where is the support coming from? Because there are also talks and allegations that this is actually sponsored support, that these are not authentic supporters, general citizens of South Africa, but these are actually people coming from inside the African National Congress who are then being planted to orchestrate that it looks like he's got groundswell support.
Hashim, when I go to KwaZulu-Natal and I attend Comrade Zuma's case, I don't mobilize people to accompany me to go there. I don't talk to people. I don't organize them. Because the day we are going to say we are now going to mobilize people, not just ANC members and what have you, it will be massive. People and us, we respect the regulations of COVID because we fear people will die. So people must not take advantage that we are disciplined. People must not use even COVID regulations to ban people but because that's what is happening in South Africa today. So when we remain disciplined, people say, but why are you disciplined? We will remain disciplined. We'll continue remaining disciplined. President Zuma, after Mandela and Kresani, these three leaders have been the most popular leaders of the African National Congress. Nobody can dispute that. And they are not popular because of the media. They have been popular because of the masses of our people. They've been popular because they were doing the right things. Our popularity doesn't determine, because you are popular because you are also part of the ANC. Here is Comrade Julius Malema, dealt with the same way. Comrade Julius is still a comrade, and many ANC leaders, they can pretend, they sit down, they talk to Malema, they plan, they do whatever, and the next day they want to say, but Julius is a bad guy. So these things will come out, and that's why I want to say I have seen black excellence with my legal team. I also have a white legal team in some of the cases I'm actually facing, because me, I don't judge people because of the color of their skin. But it is always also important for those who think black African is inferior to still understand that George Bezos and Arthur Chaskelson, who I know personally, because I even stayed with Matthew Chaskelson, the son of Chaskelson, when I was in hiding. That time I was in Mayfair. And as I said to you, they've been losing cases. George Bezos, tell me which cases they've won, and Arthur Chaskelson, including the present trial. So Comrade Daliway is, I was with him this morning. These are the best legal brains, and I am happy. And that's why you can see that I'm not affected by this judgment. Aluta continues, the struggle continues. I'm very, very, very much inspired by our people. I'm inspired by the ideals we are actually fighting for. I have heard people of Kenya, of Zambia, of Tanzania, of Africa, and the world. The support for President Zuma is there.
Let's talk about the issue of your suspending President Cyril Ramaphosa. We're going to go to a clip in just a moment, but when the court found that Mr. Magashule's decision to suspend the party president Cyril Ramaphosa was unlawful, let's go back to that particular moment.
The letter of suspension directed to Mr. Ramaphosa, and we deal with that briefly. Mr. Magashule, in this regard, seeks a declarator that the letter of suspension and the suspension of the president, as he contends, remains valid until it is set aside. In this regard, we simply point out that it is Mr. Magashule who seeks a declarator of validity in respect of Mr. Ramaphosa's suspension, and the court is obliged to inquire into the lawfulness of the action in question, in respect of which the declarator is sought. To that extent, there is no substance in the view advanced by Mr. Magashule that in the absence of a challenge by Mr. Ramaphosa to his suspension, the court is obliged to grant the declarator. If that was so, the court would be compelled to grant a declarator in respect of conduct that is not lawful and not administrative action as set out in the Odekral decision. This proposition is certainly not sustainable. What Rule 2570 requires in order for it to be triggered is that the person to be suspended must have been charged. It is clear, and it is common cause in the context of this matter, that Mr. Ramaphosa has not been charged in respect of any criminal offence, and therefore simple logic would conclude that it is not open to the ANC or to anybody to use Rule 2570 in circumstances where the individual in question has not been charged.
So you have it there, Mr. Magashule. Was it a knee-jerk reaction for you at the time to suspend the president of the African National Congress?
It's because of the resolutions of conference, which the courts also recognized. And as I said, the legal representative of the respondents said, indeed, the National Executive Committee cannot change the resolutions of the supreme body, the National Conference. In this case, the NEC did actually do so. The judges are saying this is simple logic. So if it's simple logic, that criminal offense has not been committed by President Ramaphosa. Granted, that is what they call criminal case. In this case, the politics of the ANC says nobody must actually use money. And this matter was brought by them. And that's why, you know, there are a lot of flaws. That's why.
Is the differentiator here, Mr. Magashule, not the fact that the president of the African National Congress was not criminally charged? The allegations that are being made against him, which is why there's a call for the CR17 books to be opened up. But where is the proof?
Where is the proof? The proof, even the president has accepted that it might not have been 1 billion, 300 million. What is the ANC rule saying? And where are those people today who were given this money? You know those people who were paid so much, so much, so much, so much, who are the beneficiaries of government procurement today. Clearly, you can, if you do your research, who are those leaders who are paid back today? It's everybody who was actually there, and they are there. It's for the public to know that so-and-so was given this amount of money, and so-and-so is made a leader today without branches electing some of these people. So, and that's why I'm taking the matter on appeal. It's a legal process, so it's not the end of the matter. And that's why I will wait for the appeal. I will exhaust all the legal processes. Once the legal processes have been exhausted, if I win, if I lose, even the ANC in this case, if they lost the case, they were going to appeal.
So who are these leaders that you're making reference to? You say they are known, but who are they?
I want you to have the information. If you don't have it, I will want you to give the names. You do your research. You know, they have accepted that, yes, I have received money in my account.
But who are they? Because you clearly seem to know them.
No, but I don't want to talk about individuals here. It has never been my culture.
And why,
people
and why
have
not?
talked
Because
about
you know
me.
Them?
No, people have talked about me. I have refused to even talk about a lot of people and their names. And that's why I say I want to wait for a court of law. And the August so-called criminal charge, because I'm saying these are political charges, gives me an opportunity to talk about people. You see, because I will be in a court of law. I won't be saying something which I think. I will give you names. You know the people who got money from CR17 in each and every province. You don't know that? You do. Do a research and ask them. They have never said, no, I have not received money. They said, no, I've received money, yes. It was for this purpose, yes. Zizi Kwapa says, I've received a million from EOH, I've received from Saudi,
you know,
I've
Mr.
received,
Magashule, if I may, sir.
I've received from this one. Now you want me to say I must be the judge. I'm not the judge.
No, it's not about you being the judge at all.
But you want to say you don't know who received what?
Here's what happens, and it happens quite a lot, Mr. Magashule, where we are being told that there are names who are nameless, people who are faceless with charges, and that when the time is right, the information will be revealed. But there seems to never be a time when it is right and this information is being revealed, especially when the stakes seem to be so high. The stakes were so high that you suspended the leader of the African National Congress, even though he wasn't criminally charged.
Let me talk about, you know, the minister and the president, Kombozo, have never denied that, yes, there was money from CR17 to an account. You know, Mr. Comrade Dukwan and the Free State have never said there was no money from CR account to my account. You know, Khotso Sicily. I'm quoting all these names. They are public, and the money is there in people's accounts. And they have never said no. So you want me to go to each and every province? I'm saying journalists at times surprises me because they know all this information. It is there, it's for public knowledge. If you don't know, let me give you a list with what the CR17 fund said, and then do your own research, call those people, because I don't want to talk about other people who might not have received this money. And that's why I don't want to talk about names of people. You are pushing me to talk about names because the public is going to look like I'm saying it is not true, people have not received money. People know that they have received money. I have not received a cent from anybody.
I must say, Mr. Magashule, the reason why this is important is, as a country, we're at a point where the stakes are so high, where we need absolute transparency, where the time for playing games and even political games is really done. Because the people want accountability, they want leadership, they want a party that is effective, that's governing, and that's leading. And people don't want to feel like they're part of a political ball game. And that is actually what it ends up feeling like for many.
Let me make you an example, and you know, you make me not to be principled. You make me not to be principled, because we don't talk about some of the things. The ANC in 2009, when all of us were elected premiers, called us to a meeting, and they brought the Guptas to that meeting. All the 8 premiers of the ANC met the Guptas at the Sheraton Hotel. And guess who was there? Comrade WhyRamaphosa, DSG, and Isopat. Do you want me to go to those details? And that's why I say, please, don't push me to talk about some of the things which I can actually talk about in a court of law.
And it's important, Mr. Magashule, that you do talk about those things.
No, my sister.
Because South Africans want to know. This is the type of information that, why are we paying billions for a State Capture Commission of Inquiry when there are people who know the truth but refuse to speak the truth?
I always speak the truth. I will speak the truth. I have never taken a cent from anybody. I am charged today because of oversight. I did not report any crime when somebody committed crime which I didn't actually know. What type of a charge is that?
And why did you not report the crime, Mr. Magashule? Was it not your duty?
What crime did I actually know?
You said you witnessed crimes that you did not report.
No, I said, they say I watched and witnessed any crime. Auditor General picks up issues every day. Has the Auditor General laid any criminal charge against anybody? Are you going to charge the Auditor General for this? Are you going to charge any premier, any minister, any president for oversight? It has never. There is no such a crime in criminal law. And that's why, as a South African, can South Africans allow me to hear me in a court of law? The case where I am accused number 13 is deliberate. I'm not deliberately made accused number 1, because there are no charges against me, so that you keep me there and you keep me there and you keep me there and you keep me there. And a lot of people have been approached to be witnesses, to forge a statement. They have refused. I will reveal these matters in a criminal court. And those people shall have to come up and say, yes, I was told to write lies about Magashule. Such people will appear and will summon them through our lawyers in a criminal court, which I'm actually facing. It is painful to say one is corrupt when you know that you have not done anything.
Mr. Magashule, could we go back to that hotel at the Sheraton with the Guptas and the ministers?
Let's leave that. Let's leave that. I was saying, don't push me to talk about people's names, because there's no premier who can deny that.
You mentioned that Mr. WhyRamaphosa was there.
Of course, you can't deny that. Let me not talk about the other names. I was just talking about the Secretary General of the ANC and all of us as 8 premiers. They can't deny that. And I will talk about a lot of things. I'm a politician, I'm an activist, I'm a leader of the ANC, I'm a revolutionary. I keep some of the things which are not issues of the ANC. President Zuma is dying with those things. I'm dying with those things.
But why do you
genuine have to die revolutionaries? With them? These are the fact that we have met the Guptas, because the ANC have never said anybody must not meet anybody, anybody must be corrupt. The ANC is against corruption. There is no politician or no leader of the ANC who has never met business people in South Africa.
And that's a good point that you're making. What was the content of that meeting with the Guptas? Why was it that all the ministers had to meet?
My sister, I'll talk in a court of law, and you will be there. You'll hear the story. South Africans will know the truth.
Why are you comfortable to mention Gwede Mantashe and yet not comfortable to mention the others who may have been there?
Because Gwede Mantashe at that time was the Secretary General. And Gwede Mantashe did not do something wrong, because the fact that we have met the Guptas, there was no any encouragement to say you must be involved in corruption. Gwede Mantashe never said we must do any corruption with the Guptas. But I'm just stating this case, and later on in court I will give you details.
Can you give us just a highlight of what the meeting was about? Why not?
No, I'm saying a court of law is an appropriate structure to say that.
Is it something...
Let's live until that day.
And what would be the impact of you revealing that right now? That you feel might prejudice
I'm a member of the
ANC.
I'm disciplined. I keep a lot of secrets of that. That's what revolutionaries do, not people who joined yesterday. And I can't blame some people who joined yesterday, because maybe they were not yet born, they were not there, they were not conscious at that time. I was not as conscious when so-and-so came before me and all that. South Africans are the ones who actually made us free, ordinary masses of our people. That's the best thing I respect. I respect people. I don't respect people who capture and give themselves the right to be the leaders and the only leaders of this movement. This movement called the African National Congress belongs to the to the people of South Africa.
So you are...
Not only South Africa, Africa itself as a whole.
So you are confirming, Mr. Magashule, that there are things about that meeting that should be kept secret?
Until the court hears them.
They have legal implications? Are they criminal issues, criminal-related issues?
They have political implications.
Of what nature?
No, it's because you guys make as if politicians don't meet business people. Politicians have met. They meet white monopoly. They meet black business. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong. Nothing completely wrong. That's the work of politicians. That's the work of leaders.
And if that's the case...
I was just stating and showing you one little thing, that if you are a disciplined member of the ANC, like President Jacob Zuma, I have talked with President Jacob Zuma, and we are on record on saying some of these things we can't talk about. President Ramaphosa, on record, cannot talk about certain things which are happening in the ANC, because he is a disciplined member of the ANC. Because he will also say, if I talk about some of these things can actually explode, and that's the end of the ANC. You don't do that as a revolutionary. And that's why I say I want people to deny that they never said that my charges are flimsy, the ANC leadership itself, so that we should place them on record. Not what I'm telling you. You must listen to a record and say, oh, but country, what are these leaders of the ANC doing?
You know, Mr. Magashule, from what you're saying, and you've mentioned this before yourself, that, you know, lack of unity is a problem within the African National Congress. It's a known fact. You said that...
Is it a known fact? I hear a lot of people denying that there is this unity, there is factionalism.
Let me tell you why, because even within...
So you're observing it and you agree with us?
You yourselves have said it. It's not up to me to say. You yourself have said it.
But you see it yourself?
That there's disunity within the African National Congress, yes.
There is factionalism?
Factionalism, yes.
There are those who are treated selectively, others are treated this way.
What's key
so
here,
you see it also.
Mr. Magashule,
I'm happy that you also see this.
Is that I'm taking this from what you yourselves as the ANC
It's you now saying it.
You have always pushed the unity card.
Yes.
And that unity card is something that has come out of the ANC itself.
Yeah.
It's not something that has been posed from outside. So within the party itself, you've acknowledged that it is important for the party to be united. Earlier on in our conversation, you said there are those who think they can run this organization. And this is one organization that you're talking about, but you've singled out those within that organization who think they can run that organization. You've also spoken about
Have I singled anybody?
parties. You didn't mention any names, granted, but you said there are those, so they must exist because you've singled them out as a generality, although not in the individual.
Because we have yet leaders of the ANC themselves saying the NEC is divided, the NWC is divided, the top 6 is divided. That's why we need unity, but unity is a process. It's a process.
Is that unity actually achievable, Mr. Magashule? You've said that there are things that, if they come out, would be explosive for the party, and that no disciplined cadre is going to be speaking, because if they speak, it would be detrimental to the African National Congress. That's how we have
been trained. That's how we have been educated. That's how we have been grilled and baked in the oven of the African National Congress. I'm not going to talk about those who have not gone through this oven. Yeah.
And the pressure of this oven is erupting. The pressure of this oven, we are seeing fragmentation, we are seeing it not coming together. Is there a way for the African National Congress to actually survive through this disunity?
I think that the ANC will survive. Leaders and individuals may not survive, but the ANC is an organization. And that's why it's here for 109 years, 10 years now, going there. And it will survive. It will remain there. Whether its base is being narrowed, because the ANC base has been narrowed from 1990, after 94 it went up, and then with time from every legislature. Here in Gauteng we are majority one. In the Free State, when we started in 94, we were 26, we went to 25, we went to 24, we are now 19. In Gauteng we lost Johannesburg, we lost Tshwane. Why did we lose this thing? Because people said we are not going to vote because Zuma is there. People were saying we are going to wear Mandela T-shirts, not any other thing. What happened? We lost Tshwane, we lost Nelson Mandela, we lost Johannesburg Metro, we lost Ekurhuleni. If somebody gets sick in the legislature of Gauteng and there is a push, and the other opposition parties like AIC don't vote with the ANC, it's the end of the ANC. And that's why the unity of this movement, and I will still push for the unity of this movement, sanity amongst all of us, including myself, because the ANC is an organization of a collective. But you can't be arrogant and want to show me that you are here, you have arrived. We can't go back to the apartheid days. We will resist with our might. By all means, you can harass us, you can detain us, you can poison us, you can do whatever. You can come with stories that we want to kill certain leaders, because there have been such stories that I want to kill certain leaders. I've hired certain people. Police have done their work. They are continuing to do their work. They find that these things are propelled because there must be a division between myself and the DSG and many others. We know about these things, and we are actually making sure that these things ultimately come out, because I will never ever be involved in any act of criminality. I will never ever be involved in any act which will overthrow government. I will be involved in everything and anything which has to do with the African National Congress. I'm allowed to do so when I disagree. I'm the first Secretary General where people think that they can run me. No, people could not run Secretary General as Magashule. And that's why when I left, and I was happy when the DSG said so, that maybe the media is saying this, there are those who came and wanted to disband the branches of the ANC. I've said to the DSG, I'll give you the names of branches, which you have reiterated the National Executive Committee resolution that no branch must be disbanded, no region must be disbanded, no province must be disbanded. Mpumalanga cannot be disbanded. It has been, its time has passed maybe by 2 or 3 years now. Northwest.
If
you
I may.
can't disband those structures, be it IPC there, and it's a resolution of, but people come in and say, you are disbanded. You are disbanded. Individuals are disbanded.
Let's talk about this
so
now.
I'm happy that Comrade DSG explained that the National Executive Committee, even in my absence, stance and position is that no branch must be disbanded. I was not lying, my sister.
Mr. Magashule,
that information
I'd like to move to this now. I'd like to move to this now. You are still the suspended ANC Secretary General. You said that the ANC will continue, but people within the party may not. Where do you see yourself within the party? What is your future within the African National Congress?
I said no one will remove black, green and gold from me. No one will remove the ANC from me. I am part of the ANC. I've been part of that struggle against apartheid, against lies, against anything, against basic freedoms. I have been involved in that struggle. And it's not only me who have struggled. It is the ordinary masses of our people, because at times as leaders we think it's us who have actually, because we have been in exile, we have been in prison, we have been tortured, we have gone through all those things. So I will remain within the African National Congress. I will say whatever I say. And it is for the first time I speak out on some of these matters. I have not spoken out, yes, my sister, because you guys, you always threaten us by saying this, by saying this. I've said a court of law where you have judges. And remember, some of the judges, we were together in trenches. We are comrades. We are together. I know them. They know me. We were together in trenches. Luckily, they became judges. Good. All the best. They must just do their work objectively. They must just continue doing that. If they do so, the country is in good hands.
Do you believe, Mr. Magashule, that the current president should basically give a pardon to former President Jacob Zuma? And then what then would be the future of Jacob Zuma within the national part, within the African National Congress?
Comrade, the chairperson, Premier of KwaZulu-Natal said President Zuma will be supported like he was supported yesterday, yes. He will be supported today and he'll be supported tomorrow. That's not only Comrade Sitle's position. I'm sure it is the position of the majority of the people of South Africa, not what the media is saying. The media is powerful now. It's powerful because any alternative voice has been, in South Africa today, has been banned. If there was no social media, where could we be today? We could be in a country where there is no freedom of speech, of association, freedom of movement. You could just be any time. All of us, you are worried when you are arrested, and that was our fear. You are worried that I'll be poisoned. It's a reality. Wherever I know, you say your water, I don't drink it. I don't say I don't trust you, but I don't just take it, because you don't know what has been put in here. So wherever we go, whatever we eat, we know. These are the realities of South Africa today, the politics of the ANC. It might not be society in general, but these are the politics within the African National Congress. I do talk to many leaders of the ANC, and that's why I say I respect confidentiality between what I have raised with officials of the ANC, what I have raised with the president, what I have raised with DSG. I respect those issues. And President Zuma, you know, is one of the leaders I will forever adore, because, my sister, he has kept what you and I don't know.
Should he be pardoned?
I am not the president. I can't decide. I don't even want to express a view there. What I know is that Comrade Zuma, wherever he is, whatever time, he will come out of that prison. And I hope he come out of that prison alive. He comes out of that prison healthy, because he has been healthy. We don't want to hear suddenly that President Zuma is sick and then something then happens. So the pardon story is the prerogative of the president of the country, which is Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa. Yeah, I do talk to the ANC leaders individually. I've raised some of the matters which are of serious concern, and we all in our little corners agree that, please, when I consulted the President Zuma, Mbeki, Kgalema, I've not told you about what those leaders have actually said, and in the majority, no one said step aside. Because those are internal matters. If I can have to tell you what they think, it's further dividing the African National Congress. I wish I could do so, but I am disciplined. I respect those leaders. But there are times, ask Comrade Julius Malema, he was many times very disciplined until he was pushed to a particular corner. Julius was one good comrade, and if you remember, President Zuma said Comrade Julius might even be the future, one of the future president of the African National Congress. So this is time for, people say we use black and African to mobilize. No, the reality today in South Africa is that black business is collapsing. Black people are being marginalized. Black life doesn't matter. We only worried about the rich. No, it can't be the ANC of today. And that character of the ANC must never change. And I am part of those people who will actually fight together with structures of the... I hear people saying the structures of the ANC, it's because they are disciplined. And it's because we are also saying to them, remain disciplined. Don't follow me as an individual. Yes. Remain disciplined.
Let me ask you this, Mr.
But the day the structures themselves talked, my sister, I can tell you, but one day, and I wish that they keep the discipline, and President Ramaphosa and the rest of us try by all means to unite the African National Congress.
I want to ask you about your relationship with President Ramaphosa. How is that at the moment?
It's fine. I phoned the president 2 days ago. We chat, hey, how are you, President? Fine. Cordial, because we have been comrades. You know, even with Dukwana, even if you fight, when you meet each other, my brother, hey, my brother, it still continues. If I meet Julius, because Julius, we are part of those who also made sure that Julius become the president of the Youth League, and because we know Julius, we know his credentials in the struggles. When we meet, we are still comrades. That's why Mbalola will still be friend to Julius. That's why Masina is politics. That's why I will still be good friend with Comrade Holomisa, because in the underground with Kresani, we are taking arms from General Holomisa. So you see, I'm talking about things which you guys don't actually know, because I can't talk about how we were dealt with by the cabal during the struggle of the UDF, which Oliver Tambo recognized that there was actually a cabal in the African National Congress. Continuation. But there comes a time, this is what the ANC before it embarked on an armed struggle said, fight, submit or fight. With me, I'm saying, let's remain disciplined, loyal to the African National Congress, not to any individual, and but the structures of the ANC, and I'm not mobilizing them. I'm saying they must remain disciplined. The DSG does communicate. He has communicated with them. They have heard what the DSG is saying. A lot of comrades are still talking to me. I want to resign from Parliament. I say, don't resign. I want to resign. I say, don't resign. Stay there.
Will you continue addressing? Will you continue addressing individuals when there are gatherings?
Who's not addressing people in South Africa today?
Will you continue doing so?
No, I'm asking, why are you asking me? Are leaders not addressing people?
I'm asking you because you were asked and told not to address gatherings after being suspended by the African National Congress.
But I've gone to court. I've lost in court, in the High Court today. I'm appealing. When you appeal, the status quo remains.
So you will not be addressing any crowds?
I've been talking to people.
You will continue addressing crowds?
If there is no COVID regulations and masses are allowed to come together, I will address people.
So you will continue contravening?
There's no contravention. It's part of what I'm challenging in court documents. When you challenge the thing, the status quo remains. That's why I am still regarded as the Secretary General, because that position will only be filled once there is everything.
Is it not, Mr. Magashule, the other way? Is it not, Mr. Magashule, the other way around? The verdict has been made by the African National Congress. They say you are suspended. They say you are not allowed to address any ANC gatherings. And only after your appeal, and only after that has been overturned, do you then go back to being the Secretary General, and then you go back to being able to address?
But when you appeal, your status quo remains, my sister. That's law. So I've gone to a court of law. When a court of law says that PEC of the Free State is disbanded, and you appeal it, the status quo remains. In this case, the Free State said they withdrew the appeal. If they appeal, the status quo remains. This is law.
So basically, the African National Congress is still calling you the suspended.
Has taken certain its own decisions against me. I've gone to court to challenge those decisions. Today, in the High Court, they have won. But now I'm appealing. As I appeal, I've got 15 days to appeal, and my lawyers are already dealing with appeal papers. Once I appeal the status quo, I can still address people anywhere. I can address a branch anywhere. Because of COVID, I'm not doing that.
Mr. Magashule,
I'm not doing that. But when there is no COVID, meetings are allowed like any other person. Because I've appealed, I will be able to go and address a mass meeting. I'm not doing things underground myself. I'm an open person. I have not, as I saw at some New Age, News 24, Magashule agitating people in Harrismith when I'm here in Johannesburg, when I'm in Paris, when I've never met anybody from Harrismith.
Mr. Magashule, we're going to have to leave it at that for this afternoon.
Not you, maybe. This is the propaganda, the monopoly capitalist media. I don't know whether you are part of or not. I've been watching you sometimes, and in many instances, I think you have been very objective. I appreciate it. And many journalists, there are many objective. There are those who are not objective at all. And there are those who are comrades like us, who were in the ANC, who left the ANC. When they left the ANC, they left, they came back, they joined, and now we see them in Newzroom. Do you think they will be objective?
Mr. Magashule, we'll have to leave it at that, unless if we've got a Newsroom 405 after hours. But thank you very much.
You can see I'm still flying
time.
like an eagle. I'm still jumping like a tennis ball. I'm still floating like a butterfly.
And stinging like a bee.
I don't sting.
We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. That's the suspended ANC Secretary General, Mr. Ace Magashule, in his response to the verdict that was given earlier on he says it is clearly legally wrong and not in accordance with the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. He says, I have therefore instructed my legal team to take immediate steps towards appealing this incorrect judgment. And that's where we leave it for this afternoon with Mr. Ace Magashule. Do stay with us. This is your Daytime Update. And thank you very much for your time, sir. We'll be right back.